Have you ever wondered why some real estate agents perform at ultra-high levels every single year? Welcome to the Unstoppable Agent Podcast with your host, Richard Fournier. Each week, we interview real estate agents from around the world who are constantly ranked in the top 1% of the real estate industry. My mission, share with you their best strategies so that you can create your own peak results as a real estate agent. It's time to become unstoppable.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of The Unstoppable Agent. I'm your host, Rich Fournier. Very excited to have another top 1%. Like these are top 1%ers in the world of real estate in Canada. So I'm really privileged and excited to have Jennifer Greenberg with us today from Toronto, Lepage, top 1%.
Morning, Rich.
Now, you know what? People say, why talk about the top 1%, Jennifer? And I know sometimes you may feel uncomfortable with me saying that. There's a reason why I'm saying those things, because to produce at a very high level, that means you are serving people at a very high level.
Serving lots of people at a really low level.
Right. But I mean, it's rare.
Yes.
It's rarefied air. There's lots of room at the top, but there's so very few people there. And this is why I'm so excited to get inside your world today a little bit, to figure out who you are, what makes you tick, and why you. Like, why are you one of those rarefied ones in the top 1% in the country? So thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Right? How's that for an intro?
Love it.
Right? So we're casual, but this is really about figuring out what makes you tick, what works, what's not working in the industry. So listen, your top 1% Chairman's Club with Lepage, which is, I think, over 20,000 agents across Canada.
That's about right.
It's about right? And you're the top 23, top 24 in Lepage, pretty much by yourself.
Well, nobody does anything by themselves.
Right.
So, I work with a really strong and powerful brand.
Right.
I have a senior partner agent, Vivian, who, wow,
right.
Forget about it. She's 20 years younger than me, and she is a star. Like, thank goodness I was able to hitch my wagon to her. And I've got a couple of assistants who work hard every day, and I have a brilliant brokerage that supports me. That gives me a wonderful infrastructure in which to work with it.
To work within the infrastructure. Now you have your own office already.
Some really strong colleagues to lean on and call upon. There's a great network of people that I know within this industry that, we've created a community for ourselves within this community. So nobody does anything alone.
That's true. Absolutely true. Well, look at this, right? Out of the thousands of people who will listen to this across North America, even in Spain, we hit Spain yesterday. So, Hola, refer to Toronto, Jennifer.
Yes.
So can we go back just briefly into the past? And the reason why I want to go into the past is that everyone starts somewhere. Some people gauge themselves as they're in the first chapter to people who are in their 10th chapter.
Yes.
So it's not a fair comparison. So if you don't mind going back a little bit, tell me how you got started.
Sure.
And what kind of pain you went through to get started.
Oh, pain.
Yeah,
pain
more
pain. You know what? I hate to tell you, it was pretty painless. I had, prior to real estate, I had been working for many years as a pastry chef. Actually lived and worked in Spain. And then my husband and I, Michael Loewith, of Loewith and Greenberg, and he was already working in real estate. He had been a cattle dealer, and the borders had shut down for mad cow disease. And we were expecting our first child, our son, Izzy, who was 17 years old. And my husband couldn't trade cattle, couldn't sell it to the States. He couldn't ship down there. So it's like, okay, what's the lowest bar of entry work that you could do? And he got his real estate license, and he did it in lightning speed. I think he set a land speed record, got his license, and started practicing within 4 months. And then we had our son. We had our daughter, and then I was just sort of itching to get back into something. And Mike is like, you should become a real estate agent with me. And he's like, you'll be in the office and I'll be out on the road, and you'll be feeding me information. It'll be amazing. So I too set a land speed record. I took my first exam on October 31st and I was licensed by the end of November. I did a course in Hamilton. I did a course in Barrie, just like boom, boom, boom. Got my license, and it turned out just to be the opposite. Michael ended up being in the office. I was out on the road. He was sort of our mission control for a really long time. And I just had a really great way of connecting with people. We were both, so we used to be with Harvey Callis, great brokerage in Toronto, great company. And we decided to make the move to Royal Lepage when we opened our own office on St. Clair. So we've been with Royal Lepage, I think it's 7 years now.
7 years.
7 years, yeah.
And when you got started, of course, there was like people clamoring to work with you as a real estate agent.
I don't know about that. I was clamoring to work with them. I was clamoring to work with them. I still remember the first open house I did and the first client that I picked up in that open house. And it was a husband and wife that had come in, and I was doing an open house for another agent. It was their listing. And this couple came in and they were great. And I was thinking, oh my God, these are my people. They see me, I see them. We're going to make this happen. So I follow up with them the next day and it's a dummy phone number. Sorry, I was like, oh no, fudge.
No, so just so you know, we tag all the things that no kids can watch. It's a swear away.
So, and then a few days later, I get a phone call from the wife. She's like, I can't believe it. My husband gave you a dummy phone number because that's what we always do. But we're so excited to work with you. So she reached out to me, and they were my first people. And I did a buy and a sell for them. And unless they're watching this, they to this day don't know that they were my first clients ever. And I just had, I guess, a tremendous amount of hustle.
Okay.
A tremendous amount of hustle. And my husband, the same. He was rookie of the year at Harvey Callis in his first year. I was rookie of the year at Harvey Callis in my first year. I think a lot of people that work sort of at a higher level knew from the get-go that they had something there. They had an ability to make something from nothing.
Where can we go there?
Sure. Let's go. Where are we going?
Let's go there. This is only coffee in my coffee today. Where did that thing come from?
That hustle?
Yeah. Where did that belief come from? Listen, tools, tips, tricks, everything, all the branding, wild, makes no difference. Oh. Where does that thing come from?
I don't know.
You have to know.
Mine came from a long time ago. I always had a belief that no matter where I would land, I could always take care of myself. I lied about my age and got my first job at Second Cup in Yorkville when I was 12 years old, and worked not every day of my life since, but I was full of hustle from a young age. I wanted money, my own money in my pocket to make my own choices about where I would go, what I would do. And that's been sort of my guiding path.
Was there family that was like this? Did they instill within you a belief system that you could do it?
I would love to say yes. I don't know. I think I was just made this way. Some people think that people are weeds and some are flowers, and those weeds will find a way through. I am, I guess I have a tendency or a knack to find my crack in the pavement.
That's a beautiful analogy. I've never heard it said that way ever. Ever. The reason why I asked that question is many years ago, someone asked me a question. They said, Rich, I know what to do, but why don't I do it? That question has haunted me. This is one of the reasons why you and I speak. That question, maybe 7, 8 years ago, has haunted me. I know what to do. Why don't I do it? And this is why I asked the question, and people are like, some people think, oh, Rich, I don't want to talk about that. But it's actually the driving force for every piece of result that you have in your life, whether good or bad. And that's why I try to dig as deep as I possibly can. Yeah. When you have those moments, like, so when you got this first client you had to buy and sell,
Yeah.
Was there a daily method of and the reason why I'm asking this question, is there a daily method of operation that you follow right from day one? I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this.
Yes.
Okay.
I had a very elaborate system of open house sheets that I had. My open house sheets were done on tabloid paper. They were huge.
Right.
And I would follow up. I would make phone calls, I would send emails. I had one-sided conversations for months with people that did not respond, but I always treated it like they were responding to me. I was sending them information, things that they would be interested in, whether it was information about a sold property, something that had come out in their market, just a little, hey, how's it going? I'm great. And many of my very first clients, when they decided to work with me in the end, they said, you were the last man standing. You never gave up on us. We might not talk to you for 2 months, but you kept talking to us. You hung in there with the things that you knew that we would want or need to know. And I kept it light and I kept it bright, but I just stayed in touch with people. Now there's a luxury to that when you're a brand new agent and you have nothing else to do. You have no listings. So what you need to do is you need to see or this is what I needed to do. I saw houses all the time and I thought, who can I put in this house? Who do I know that could have an interest in this house? It was like a matchmaking service almost. And I was sending people information and I was seeing things on their behalf, even when they weren't asking me to, and just giving them suggestions and options and opportunities. Just keep bringing opportunities to people, relevant information to their lives. And that will trigger them to make the decisions that they need to make. And hopefully you'll be that last man standing when they're ready to make a decision about real estate.
So irrational faith.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's really pretty rational when you think about it. Someone who has come into an open house, at some point they are going to make a move. And if you have the wherewithal to stay with them in a tone and a manner that's upbeat and pleasant, maybe a little bit funny, and if you can show them that you are an expert in this field, when they circle back and they're ultimately ready, why wouldn't they move with you? You've shown consistency, you have shown optimism, you have shown determination, stick-to-itness. You have shown all the qualities of a service provider that somebody would absolutely want. And you've proven to be an expert over the years.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Well, so for those people who get derailed, I can think of a few people that I've spoken to recently where there's just nothing happening, Rich. No one wants to talk to me, or I feel like I'm bothering people all the time. How was there in your mind? How were you able to navigate
I
that?
never thought I was bothering anybody.
Right.
The minute that you think that you're bothering people, you can't make a phone call, you can't send an email, you can't create a post on social media. Just because no one's talking to you doesn't mean that you don't have something to say. If you put your voice and your message into the world with consistency, that's all you need to do. It's selling real estate is a mathematical equation. As long as you have a little bit of talent and ability, and whatever it is that you choose to do, you have to knock on X amount of doors. You need to send X number of emails. You need to pop by to past clients X number of times. Right. There is a formula of what you need to do to be able to produce X amount of results. And as long as you are putting the work in, as long as every day you come in and you put in the work, you put in the time to the emails, the content, the staying in touch, the phone calls, the text messages, the whatever it is that you've done consistently and your base would be looking to see from you, you keep doing that, the work will come. The phone will ring. Those are all the activities that make the phone ring. And at any given moment, someone can decide to be a top player in their industry just by doing the work, and the results will follow. Success is available to every single person. You just have to do the work, and the work is easy.
The work is easy, actually.
It's easy work.
I was sitting with my wife this morning having coffee, talking about the game of real estate, and we're excited to do other things as well. But it's actually, doing what I do and looking at real estate when we did, I was like, wow, real estate is actually quite easy.
Yep.
And this was a real conversation this morning before I came to talk to you, where I'm just having conversations all day. That's it. And trying to be a good person and serve them. That's it.
Yep.
Be a resource. And you said it so much better than I did. Jennifer, you mentioned something about a formula, and I literally could see people in their car going, what's the actual formula?
I can't tell you. I won't tell you. It just depends. So let's say you have 4 people in your database.
Yes.
Let's take, you're brand new. You've got 4 people in your database.
Right.
Who are those people in your database? It's not your barber. It's not your dog walker. It's someone you think that would look upon you as an expert and either do business with you or refer business to you.
Yeah.
Those are the only people that are in your database. The other people are in your contact list or your address book. But the people in your database would refer business to you or do business with you. And you want to touch those people, literally touch them. You want to touch them in meaningful ways X number of times during the year. So every November, I sit down and I create my connectivity plan. What am I going to do the following year? How many phone calls am I getting? How much business do I want to do? So I start with how much business do I want to do? And then I have to go from how much business that I want to do to what is the work that I will have to do in order to do that amount of business. And for me, that's how many listing presentations do I have to go on? How many listings do I have to then capture? How many buyer presentations do I have to go on? And then how many houses will I can't go on 40 buyers presentations and buy 40 properties. Someone's going to fall off. Someone's going to change their mind, not do something. So if I have 40 buyer presentations, maybe I can close 40. If I have 40 buyer presentations, maybe I can close 30 buyers from that. Because usually your conversion rate on your buyers is much stronger. But if I want to sell 40 houses, I probably have to go on 80 listing presentations. You figure, okay, if you go the listing rate, what's the percentage of listing presentations that you go on that you're actually there to get the business? Right. I usually think of 50% of the presentations that I go on, I'm actually there to get the business. The other 50%, they're using their cousin, their uncle, their best friend, their last agent. They just want another opinion. So 50% of the work that I go out on, or the appointments that I go to, I'm not even in line for that. So then how many of that 50% can I convert?
You have such a wonderful way of thinking about this because your expectation is real.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's real. Like, that's just a fact. That's just reality. And I have irrational belief in my expectations around myself. And in the back of my mind, I also know that the way the world works.
Yeah.
And I think I can do better than the average just because I believe I can and I put forth the effort. And there's still going to be losses. There's still going to be.
But those conversion rates are already better than the average.
Right.
But you have to look at them realistically. Because
right.
if you can look at them realistically, then you're not disappointed on the work that you don't get because you know you were never there to get it. So how does that can't be a hit to your ego or the quality of the work that you do. You were in the room, but you were never there. It was never your work.
So it was never yours to begin with.
But you made a connection with someone who may remember you. Like, I've done work, so I did not get a piece of business. And then 5 years later, that person like that person was with a new partner. And even though I lost the work to the gimme agent, like they already had a gimme agent in the room with them, basically. So that person remembered the presentation that I gave them, had, on a little thread, continued to silently watch the things that I did. They were still on my mailing list. They were part of my social media network. So they were knowing about my successes along the way. And 5 years later, they reached out to me out of the blue to say, we have a home to sell. We want to work with you. You made such an impression on me, but I had to work with that agent. That was my ex-wife's agent, and there was no way around it.
Got it.
So there's always future business, as long as you go in best foot forward, even if you know you're not going to get the job, still knock it out of the park.
This is such timely information because, and here's the reason why I say that. I was talking with clients the other day, and they're frustrated because they spend a Saturday driving all over the place with 2 buyer clients, and their buyer clients currently in this environment, which is we're at the end of September 2022 for those listeners. And so the buyer's expectations are out of line with the seller's expectations considering the market. And they were really frustrated around the time that they spent with no results. And I could not get through to them that it was absolutely necessary for them to go do that activity. And if they didn't have anything else in the pipeline, they had to go back on Sunday and create more into their pipeline. They couldn't just rest on their laurels and be upset about it. That thing could happen next year or it could happen next week. You have no idea. You just have to keep going.
Yeah.
That's the faith that I'm talking about. That's where I want to know what magic potion that you drank to get that.
So then you have to sort of qualify. There is a difference between faith and delusion.
Okay.
Delusion has you continuing to work with clients that are delusional. So if your client is looking to do something that is not realistic within the market that they are looking to buy or sell in, then maybe you are wasting your time. Because if you can't connect with them and have them align on market conditions, then they're not really a buyer or a seller. They're not really a buyer or seller. So you have to be careful where you place your energy, because there are people that will take your time, and you have a choice. Everybody, there's so many choices. So do I feel bad for a buyer or seller that is working with one of the worst agents, that's not educated, that may not be ethical, that may not be responsible, that may not be educated, well, no, they made a choice. They made a choice about who they wanted to put in front of them, in front of the deal. They chose their advisor. They chose their advisor either based on their advisor's experience or on money. And one of them drove their decision. So they made a choice. It's their choice. You, as an agent, you have a choice how you want to define yourself in the industry and who you want to be. You can either be ethical, educated, responsible. You're putting the deal ahead of your own interests every single time, even when your interests are not making your mortgage payments. Clients always comes first, because it'll create who you are in your industry and how you act. Or it can be about the money. And if it's about the money, you're going to deal with people that only deal with you because of the money. Because you give them some of it, your cut rate, you do something for nothing, blah, 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 blah. So you have to make choices about who you are and who you give your time to, and who you share your expertise with. Because there are people out there, all different shapes and sizes. You can't identify with all of them. So know who your client is. Who do you want to work with? And then how do you work with them? And make your choices.
What's fascinating to me is that there's so much room in the industry. You choose to be, an ethical, strong, educated producer who's in line with their clients and wants to help them and operate at a really high level, probably charge commensurate with that. And then we have other people in the industry who've chosen to kick back and discount completely, where there is no revenue to be earned and there's no income, there's no value. And
but there's
for that
value to the
person,
people that they choose to work with.
right?
It's a perfect match.
It's a perfect match.
Perfect match. There's someone for everybody. Just decide who the someone you want to be as a professional, and then choose to work with people that are going to respect that. And people, like, there's no one way that people feel respected. So choose how you wish to be respected and find the people that will offer you that. And you're going to offer in turn your services to them. And it's going to be great.
If you were to give someone advice today, would, new into the industry, 2 years into the industry, say under 5 years, should they be with a team or should they be on their own in this environment?
It's really hard to say. Some teams just churn and burn.
Yeah.
And you're going to get lost in the shuffle there. You may not learn anything. You may be with the wrong team where you can't identify. Just because they have success doesn't mean it's the right place for you to be. Not all success is created equal. It may not really identify with your core values, right, as a person or as a professional. Yeah, I think that there are some people, like, I've always really been a lone wolf, if you will. Fell into business with my husband. He no longer works in real estate in the same way that he used to. He's created a new niche for himself. I've always been a lone wolf, but I've always surrounded myself with strong people. So a strong brokerage with a good backbone, a group of colleagues that I can lean on for advice and things like that. It really depends on who you are as an individual and what that team is going to offer you, if you're able to find success there. I think that if you graduate from your courses and you head off to a brokerage where you pay nothing and you get nothing, you'll likely learn nothing. You'll be in a place where people are paying nothing and getting nothing and knowing nothing. So you're surrounding yourself at your brokerage level with uneducated people who cannot help nor advise you, per se, on how to work at a higher level. You won't have any examples to watch within that brokerage model, but you're paying nothing. So you're getting, like people always say, but it's not costing me anything to be there. It's costing you time. It's costing you valuable time in surrounding yourselves with the sort of person that you want to be. Surround yourself with the kind of person that you want to be. And well, lo and behold, you'll become that person too.
It's amazing how that happens. Can we broach a topic around, by the way, like I'm listening to this podcast over and over and over again, the value that you're doing. No, and it's not like, talk to a lot of people, Jennifer. I do. There's massive for our listeners. And yes, this is being recorded, but for our listeners, please listen to this. This is truth. Been around a while myself, and I've jumped from a few different brokerages, and I do know the mistakes that I made. And I'm very transparent about those mistakes. And you need good people in your corner. Like, you can create your brand within a brand, and have good people who really have your back. That is priceless. And I've learned the hard way. So can we broach internet leads? Like,
I don't really work any.
Right.
So we could broach them.
We broach them, but they're going to run away from you.
But I have noticed we over, I would say over the last, from mid-COVID, let's say, we started to dedicate more time to our social media. Now, what does that mean? We stopped using a company,
right,
to present and post for us and to provide content. We stopped doing that. So everything that gets posted there is something that we've created. something that we've thought about, something that's in our brand, in our voice, that's real. It's a little bit sloppy sometimes. And then we were going strong on that. Like we were really in it, loving it. And all of a sudden people were reaching out to us and said, hey, through Messenger and things like that, which I was like totally foreign to me. I'm not great with social media. I still struggle with putting my post out there. But
Sure.
they were reaching out and saying, we really like what you have to say. We'd like to work with you. And we've worked with, this is a short period of time.
Yeah.
We worked with 3 great buyers who really just identified with our brand, liked what we had to say. So you would say my conversion rate on that is really, it's really low. But I'm not paying for ads.
Yeah,
I'm not paying for someone to mark. Pardon?
It's not low. Sorry, Jennifer, the delay. It's not low. It's not low because you create some content. I don't know, an hour. Maybe your assistant did it. I don't even know.
Create some content in 5 minutes.
5 minutes. You
5
put
minutes.
it out there,
Yeah.
and it's become. I always questioned it just because it's the way it's been used. I find it's just kind of useless sometimes. But you took 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That was your investment in creating a new relationship with someone. Someone dated you watching you do something.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't know that they're there. It's this quiet audience. It's the people that are watching. It's not the people that thumbs up and heart emojis. And those are all of my realtor friends that do all that stuff.
Yeah.
It is the people that are out there quietly watching what you do, and they wait for their moment when they're ready to do something, and they reach out to you. And they don't reach out to you to interview you. They reach out to you to work with you. So, okay, so we did that. We did that for 1 year, and like, holy mackerel, that was great. Years of paying somebody to do this or post this, nothing. Half a year doing it ourselves. So what do you think we then continued to do? We just fucked it up.
Yeah, you just stopped.
We just stopped.
Right.
We lost our momentum. We got busy with something else, and we just stopped. And it, in turn, stopped. So what did we do a couple of weeks ago? We went back. We took the time capsule back. We said, okay, what were we doing between this period and this period when these people reached out to us? And you got to go a little bit further back.
Right.
That's what we had to do again. That was the secret sauce. Just do what you were doing without interruption.
Well, you have a nice mix. I'm looking at it here. You have a nice mix, like it's you, and some scripting, mostly just you being you. It seems to be video,
Yes.
video.
Yeah. So it's the consistency in what you do. And even if you're not getting any voices, believe in it a little bit, and the phone will ring. But it is that consistency, sort of back to November for a second. So in November, we make all the decisions for the year to come.
Okay.
Are they set in stone? Not entirely, but they're written out. It's something that we can refer to. It gives us a plan for every single month of the coming year. I look at my year starting in December. I go from December to November is how I track. Yeah. Because the work that you start to do in December, all those reach outs, holiday cards, pop buys, whatever it is, that is laying the ground for your year to come. So take December, don't sell anything, whatever. I don't always do a deal in December. I like to. Who doesn't like to do? Right. I like to do lots of deals. But if I don't do a deal in December, I'm okay with that because I know that I'm laying the groundwork for my January through to October. And that's the important part of my year.
So to me, it sounds like you're very intentional around your, not only your year, but your day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month.
Yeah.
You have a pretty clear view. You're not coming into the office in the morning, having a coffee, looking at your computer and going, not sure what I'm doing today.
No, not Yeah, there are moments like
Okay, so maybe you've earned the right to be able to take some time to maybe not be as intentional, but let's for the first 5 to 10 years, I think most people should be very intentional day to day.
Oh yeah, you have to. You have to get the work done. There's a big body of work that has to get done.
Right.
And you got to make sure, like in December, oh shoot, I hope none of my clients are listening. But all the anniversary cards get written. They get written in December.
That's okay. That's okay. That totally. It's still, you're right. You're sitting down, you're giving a moment to giving of that moment, because you can never get the moment back. It's your most valuable commodity is your time.
Yeah. So, and the times that you have time, do the busy work. So all the anniversary cards get into the box in the month that they need to get sent out. All the labels get put on the envelopes. So all you have to do when, like, the first day of January is finish your anniversary cards for that month, but they're prepared. Then all you have to do, the stamps are on the envelopes. Somebody puts them in the mailbox. If you send birthday cards to all your clients, get your birthday box set up in December when you have time to do it. So you're not scrambling in mid-March when you got a million things happening and your kids are on March break, but you haven't sent out your birthday cards. They're ready to roll. Get all those things ready to roll. Plan out when you're going to pop by to see a client, what you're going to drop off, what events you might host, what micro and macro things you're going to do. What is going to be the theme of your content for this year? What do you want to touch on at different points of the year? Like every year in September, I do a crystal ball report. So I know that in August, I have to think about what's my report for this year? What am I going to crystal ball for people? And then who gets that? It goes out to my farm area. It goes out to my clients. Do I want to do anything new with it? Like all the things that you're doing, just get them in the calendar so that on the first day, whatever that month it is, you have some direction on the bigger things that you need to do. Who's getting CMAs and when are they getting them? Who's getting this and how are they getting them?
Right.
Plan it all out.
Plan it all. If farming is, farming still important in your...
We've been farming for... My husband started farming 17 years ago. I kid you not, we would pay for the farm cards before we buy groceries.
Well, that's smart.
The consistency of that. And they used to come, you'd go to the printer with, it was whatever paper was on sale. Sometimes they were blue, sometimes they were pink, sometimes they were white. It didn't matter. They weren't fancy mail cards like they are now.
Right.
They were just pieces of paper. And my husband had like one of those things for counting for his thumb, and he
right.
And bundle them into bundles.
Like you mean the little rubber thing?
Yes.
I gotta meet your husband.
We still take our own flyers to the post office.
Right.
We still hammer our. This will surprise people. I still hammer every sign into the ground myself.
That does surprise me. Yeah.
Because I like it a certain way. I like it to be up at a certain time. I like to have control of my process. Okay. When the staging stuff goes out, the sign gets taken to the house. I have a sledgehammer in the back of my car. And I'm going to put that sign in the ground when I want it to be there, not when somebody else has time to put it in the ground.
Got it. Just, for the sake of time, I look at what you've given to our audience today and to me, and I take this like all in, and I have the best position in the world, right? It seems that you have to have, from what I gather, you have to have faith that as long as the macro, and I'm going to speak a little bit around this, the macro environment is conducive, meaning deals are still being done.
Deals are always being done.
Right. So but there's some people that think, oh my God, doom, gloom, right? So, but if deals are being done and you're not doing it, well, then you're the problem. And then you have to start having faith in your ability to do the work that's necessary, right? Yep. So, and then from there, it's like, what's working, what's not working? Well, the reality around farming is that I have to be consistent over a long period of time. I have to talk to people every single day about buying or selling a piece of property and try to add as much value as I possibly can. And whatever mechanism that I prefer to, I hate to use the word capture, but to date people, to bring them into your network.
Capture them, put them in a big net. Right. Absolutely, like a giant butterfly.
Right. Like that. And then have conversations all day, every day. And have some emotional intelligence around that conversation. But that sounds like the business to me. And, okay, and we're going to add in the last thing. Understand who your client is. Because that person will respect you. Okay. They'll hear your voice. And you will understand them and you will hear their voice. And when you've got clarity and transparency and respect, something great is going to happen. You may have some tough conversations. Great doesn't mean it's exactly the outcome that somebody wanted. But maybe the outcome that they wanted wasn't realistic for the market that they were operating in. Got it. And just because the market is having highs or low, it doesn't preclude you from doing an outstanding job for somebody. On that note, I hope people listen to this many times. No smoke, just truth. I appreciate you, Jennifer. I appreciate the time. Once you give it, you can't get it back. So thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. And thanks for giving of yourself. It's a rare quality. So I'm sure it will be paid back many times over. My pleasure. Have yourself an amazing day.
You too.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you like what you've heard and you're interested in creating a quantum leap in your real estate business, here's what I want you to do next. Head over to www.theunstoppableagentprogram.com and book an appointment to speak with our team. We'll get on a Zoom call with you for about 30 minutes and get you crystal clear on 3 things. Number 1, what do you really want out of your life and your business? Number 2, what is not working for you today? And number 3, the exact mindset strategy you should be using to create massive change in these areas. Remember, creating massive, consistent results in your real estate business does not happen by itself. You need expert guidance to make it happen. We're helping clients all over the world create peak results in their real estate business. To see if we can help you do the same, head over to www.theunstoppableagentprogram.com. We'll chat soon.